Hi, welcome to Engage. My name is Stacy Sweet, and I'm the Confirmation Coordinator here at Kingwood United Methodist Church. I'd like to introduce you this week to a very special friend of mine, Nicholas Hennings, who is one of my confirmation students. So I want to let you watch an interview with him, and we'll get back together in just a few minutes. All right, so Nicholas, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you came to be walking on crutches?
Well, I went to the Woodlands. And I saw this man. And he said to walk.
And what did you think when he first said that? That's not something you'd been doing before, was it?
No.
Well, how were you getting around before?
In a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair, right. So all of a sudden this guy tells you to walk. So what did you think when he said that?
Whoa.
Okay. So then what did he what do you do? Have you stand up first?
Yeah.
And then you started walking. Were you doing it on crutches at that point, or were you actually taking steps without your crutches?
I was actually taking steps.
Wow. So from that day on, did you use your wheelchair anymore? Or did you pretty much... That was it,
I left it in the garage.
That's what I heard. It's like in the garage collecting cobwebs now, huh?
Yeah.
It's like a nice little spider home, huh? So you started... Let's see, and it was this summer, right?
Was it, Nana?
It was this summer, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then you started middle school too this year, right?
Yeah.
So that was a big adjustment.
And I walked all the way to my next class.
Right. And you...
On these.
On those, that's right. And so then, you also started confirmation, because that's what 6th graders do at our church. Let me explain. I'll explain now kind of what we do in confirmation a little bit. In confirmation, one of the things that the kids are expected to do is to serve our church in different ways. And so one of the expectations is for the kids to serve as acolytes, and we also serve communion and participate in the worship services at Kingwood United Methodist Church. So we started in October, I believe it was, or maybe November, with the kids signing up to help acolyte, and which is where you carry the light of Christ into church, is what that symbolizes and means. And they light the candles at the beginning of the service on the altar, and then at the end of the service put that out, and then it also symbolizes us taking the light of Christ back out into the community. And so that's one of the things that my confirmation kids sign up to do. And so, lo and behold, it's our first time to serve communion, and guess who wants to do it?
Me.
Nicholas. So, we had a few logistics to work out, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did we do? We actually came up here, I remember it was on a Friday night, and you came up here, and we practiced a lot, didn't we?
Yes.
We practiced a whole lot.
And once in my robe.
Yep, and then thank goodness we did it in the robe, because then we found out that was a little bit trickier with the robe and the crutches and making sure your hands that the robe didn't get in the way and stuff like that. So I was really glad later on that we thought to do that and practice it in your robe. But I remember that night, because I remember it was a Friday night and you had been at school all week, and I know at that point it was still pretty tiring for you to walk on your crutches and walking all day at school and doing all that. But you came up here on Friday night. I remember us meeting up here, and we practiced for a long time. I bet at least an hour, probably pretty close.
Nana, was it about an hour?
I think it was. It was a pretty good while. And we practiced basically kind of figuring out how to hold the light, hold the, I can't think what it's called, that you actually light the end of, and how to hold it. Remember we joked how our goal was just not to set anybody on fire?
Or the church on fire.
Yeah, and the church. So that was our goal, was not to set anybody or the church on fire, right? And you did that. But, you were willing to come up here and do an extra practice and make sure that we knew how it was going to go and what we kind of needed to do to make it work better for you and stuff like that. Because let's see, I think we just put a little extra step up there. Really, is all it took was an extra step, and then you could get right up there and you could light that candle, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did it make you feel to get to do that?
Pretty excited.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting to watch you do it too. You know what I liked the most about watching you do it was just that you were, I guess that's a great word, you were excited to get to serve God and be able to do that for your church, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty neat thing to get to do, huh? And that you were excited to get to be able to participate in the worship that way and know that you were serving not only your church, but also serving God by doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think you couldn't do it?
No.
No, I don't know. I didn't think so either. I know that thought never crossed your mind. Somehow we were going to get that light down to that candle, weren't we? Or I shouldn't say we. You were going to get that light down to that candle, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what else I kind of think is kind of interesting? Is this time last year, you were still in your wheelchair. So you wouldn't even have thought, like if I had come up to you a year ago while you were still in 5th grade and said, hey, guess what? Next fall, I need you to walk down the aisle at church on Sunday morning and light the candle. What would you have said? Said, Miss Stacy, have you lost your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah. We probably would have still knowing you, we still would have found a way. You just would have done it in your wheelchair. But if I had told you were actually going to be walking, you would have thought, what are you talking about? Right? Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your time with Nicholas as much as I did. One of the things that really inspired me about working with Nicholas this year and working with him when he was getting ready to acolyte was Nicholas's willingness to prepare to serve God. That Friday night he came up to the church and we practiced for quite a while. And at that time, Nicholas was just starting middle school and getting into the routine of middle school, getting used to getting around middle school. So by the end of the week, he was pretty tired and pretty spent. But he was still willing to come up that Friday night and work and practice and do what he needed to do to be ready to serve God. And so it really got me to thinking about the things in our own lives that we need to do to be prepared to serve God. And those things include our prayer time with God, our time spent reading the Bible, our time spent with Christian community, and our time spent in worship and just time with God. That those things are the things that prepare us to be ready so that when God does call us to serve Him, that we're ready to go. and that we shouldn't be afraid of those times of practice and the difficulties in that practice sometimes, because sometimes those things don't come easily or naturally. So I'd like for you today to take some time as a family to think about and talk about what can you as a family and as an individual do to prepare yourselves for this upcoming year and how you can serve God. One of the other things that struck me about Nicholas was that this time a year ago, he had no idea that he would be walking on crutches. And so we never know what God has in store for us and what plans he has for us and what he's actually preparing for us. But I do know if we're constantly seeking him, that we will have the strength to do whatever he calls us to do. During the covenant service, during the invitation, this is part of the passage that the congregation read together. Lord, make me what you will. I put myself fully into your hands. Put me to doing, put me to suffering. Let me be employed for you or laid aside for you. Let me be full. Let me be empty. Let me have all things. Let me have nothing. I freely and with a willing heart give it all to your pleasure and disposal. So take some time as a family, pray together, talk together, and think about how can you as a family be prepared to serve God in ways that you can be open to serving him this year. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.